What we're about to see right now, they're about to get to dipping, ripping, riding, slipping, and hopefully not sliding.
Now it's garbage.
Just another movie night.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. We are Just Another Movie Night, and I am Scott.
And I'm Joe.
And today we are talking trash.
Talking trash.
Talking trash indeed. This is our show to review, spoil, debate, crap on, and give second chances to the hated, the lowest rated, the much debated, and often forgotten flicks on the internet, all while asking the question, is this the worst movie ever made? And if not, what is? Because here on the show, we truly believe you can't really review films unless you know what the worst is. And today we are talking about Snoop Dogg.
The dog father. Snoop Doggy Dog.
Let's see here. What do we got? What do we got? Because this has been a whole month of we're doing movies starring rappers.
So far, it's been a fun ride.
Yeah, has it? All right. Today we're talking about a movie that has the tagline, "This dog's got a bone to pick." We're talking about 2001's Bones. It has a 4.4 on IMDb from 8,255 reviewers and a 42 on Metacritic. It had a $16 million budget and it only grossed 8.
Oh my god.
This was directed by Ernest R. Dickerson. Dickerson. I'll say that again. Ernest R. Dickerson. Jesus.
You still can't say it.
He's a big TV director that did an episode or many episodes on almost every TV show. He was a cinematographer on Malcolm X and Do the Right Thing. His last feature film was in 2017 called Double Play. We know him as the director of Juice, Bulletproof, and Demon Knight.
Oh, okay.
It is written by Adam Simon, the director of Carnosaur and Brain Dead.
Oh, wow.
Not the Peter Jackson good movie.
Of course not.
The Bill Pullman, Bill Paxton film.
Yes.
That isn't good. And Tim Metcalf, he wrote The Revenge of the Nerds.
Oh, okay. Nerds in Paradise or just the first one?
The original. And he gets the credit for creating all those characters. So he's
that's
always
great.
Yeah. It stars Snoop Dogg, a.k.a. Snoop Doggy Dogg, a.k.a. Big Snoop, a.k.a. Snoop Lion, a.k.a. DJ Snoopadelic, a.k.a. Calvin Brodozar.
Calvin Brodus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, his middle name is
What is it?
Cordozar.
Oh.
Brodus Jr.
Nice.
He plays Jimmy Bones.
Do you say dog father? Because he's a dog
I didn't
father.
say. Yeah, I didn't have that one listed actually.
He's the dog father.
It also stars legend Pam Grier. If you don't know who she is, I'll tell you. She is Jackie Brown, Coffee, Shelba Baby, Friday Foster, and Foxy Brown. I picked all the movies where they actually have the title is the character's name that she plays.
I like it.
Yeah.
No, she's very beautiful.
There's a lot of those.
Pam Grier, like, even though she's a little bit older in this, I feel like she's ageless. I think she's beautiful. She's playing an older,
Yeah. So yeah.
Time lapses in this movie.
Yeah. So this movie, this is a weird beast that we picked today. This is an interesting one.
It's a strange one because I feel like there's not like a whole lot going on, but there is.
I feel like what's the most interesting thing about this movie to talk about?
It's a revenge flick. I like revenge flicks.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say though the thing that I feel like we have to discuss the most is how disappointingly mediocre this film is.
Yeah, I was expecting it to be there's like a lot of inadvertent comedy. Like they weren't trying to be slapsticky, but it just happened to be that. But there were some moments in this movie where I was like, "Oh Jesus." But I didn't laugh like a hearty laugh, like
Yeah.
my Joe laugh that comes from my belly button. Not that kind of laugh.
Well, there's good reason for it, okay? Because while we were watching this film, we could not unsee the red paint blood that seems to really overshadow the film.
Yeah, it's like they took cues from Mario Bava.
And that's a great thing that you brought it up because this movie was originally intended to be a giallo
No.
throwback. Yeah, it turns out that the cinematographer on this movie, Fabio Martinez Labino,
Oh my God.
he was also the cool and we're gonna have a throwback to last week's episode.
up.
He's the camera operator on Cool,
Cool
as
as ice? No.
They intended to film this movie as a throwback to Mario Bava and Dario Argento, and that was how it was intended. What happened afterwards was the film was taken and recut to hell. So they say that they made this movie into a blaxploitation film instead of the giallo that it was intended to be. The film was originally filmed to be shot in chronological order. When they took this movie and they re-edited it, they reshot it, they used scenes that they filmed originally and they peppered them into the opening credits to make them feel like a blaxploitation film. So this was originally intended to be more of that. You can see it. There's a lot of clear shots and angles and color schemes and things that were being done that you can tell were intended to be something else.
I mean, I feel like the color scheme, yes, that was different, but they were also flashing back to the 70s, which could kind of account for that decision. I don't get blaxploitation at all. I don't know why.
You know that opening was, and you were all excited about it because you thought that's what they were going to do. When they hired the people that they hired, I mean, you have Pam Grier.
Well, because she's known for those movies that she made a lot of them, so...
And you have Snoop Dogg in full pimp gear.
Wait, he doesn't just walk around the streets like that?
Well, I gotta tell you, if I was him, I would wear this for the rest of my life because everything he was wearing in this movie was rocking.
I mean, he's just so fucking likable.
Yeah, he is.
Like, I mean, it's just, there's just something endearing about him, like his soft-spokenness, and like, he's just cool.
We're living in an era right now where, or a bizarre constant a resurgence of him, because as we're recording this, the Olympics are going on, and it just so happens that he's at the Olympics and he is making it turns out that he's our spokesman.
Yeah, and he's making a lot of friends, and I think it's really sweet. Like,
It's
he was
amazing.
hanging out with that swimmer Caleb, his wife, and cheering him on and stuff, and I just think there's just something so endearing about him.
This is equestrian.
This is
They call
prancing.
They call this
Prancing.
equestrian.
By the way, look at that horse.
Did you? Oh, the horse crip walking, cuz. You see that? On the set. That's gangsters of up. Hey! Oh, cuz. Oh, look at this, cuz.
Oh, come on, man.
This horse is off the chain. I gotta get this motherfucker in a video, cuz.
Oh, you
It's just cute. I like it.
Yeah, it's so crazy, and to watch him in this movie, I think that's what bothers me about it. It should work better. And I really like this idea that this might have been giallo at one point. And I can see why this was. And I got to tell you some things as we talk about the movie a little bit, as we go into the plot, about some of the things that were reshot and that they put into the movie to cover up these gaps between the re-edit. Yeah, it's really weird because New Line Cinema, I guess, was really losing money at the time of this movie. And so as this movie was coming out, they felt like, oh, we have to market this toward one group of audience members. Although they think, like they say in the long run, that they kind of missed the market on the entire genre of horror.
Yeah.
Seeming to just market one way, which I don't really see. But I do think that there's a lot of casting questions here and a lot of bizarre choices that kind of like conflict. And I wonder how much of the movie was reshot to fit this new edit. Because if they didn't want to go and change the gore, and it's also kind of funny because you can clearly see that they used different color grades for different scenes.
Oh, yeah.
Which would definitely play up to the giallo.
100%, yeah.
But and I guess I should say, by the way, if people don't know what giallo is and haven't listened to her an entire month where Joe is trying to get me to be a fan of giallo, which is the theme on this show, giallo is what would you say, Italian horror
It's
movies.
like, yeah, it's like a subgenre of mystery / horror.
Mostly like a thriller, a violent thriller.
Yeah, there's always like violent, there's violence usually, and mystery, like an air of mystery.
Now, I would say that it's so interesting when you talk about movies and you talk about these subgenres, because we constantly debate what the hell giallo is, because it's very confusing. And they say Italian, but we've seen a lot of Spanish directors do it.
Well, I think the Italians originated it, but I think that it has been vastly, a lot of people have tried to do it, and a lot of people have. I mean, They really have. Different countries, different kind of like directors and things like that.
Because there's a style to it, which usually happens to have certain elements, which is a switchblade killer, like wearing a black glove, the identity of the killer being a mystery, characters having a lot of like close-ups on their faces, a lot of eyeball filming.
That's Bava.
Yeah, a lot of interesting music and tracking shots, very clever shots with weird angles and also color.
That's Argento.
Seems to fit into this whole thing. So it's debatable because I'm hoping soon we're going to get back on to another month of giallo films and try it again.
Oh, we will, baby.
And there's one movie I want to put on in particular that I think needs to be talked about, which is questioning, is it even giallo? But we'll talk about that. But I wanted to bring that up because if this movie was intended that way, the mess of what the re-editing and to the other subgenre, which is blaxploitation, which some people might not know, but during the 70s grindhouse, there was an entire surgence of black directors coming in and making really interesting exploitation films. And so it got that weird subgenre name stuck on it. And what's cool about that, though, is a lot of that grindhouse movies are very interesting, and there's a huge community who loves grindhouse and blaxploitation in particular.
Yeah, there's a market and I guess a genre for everybody out there. We like watching those movies.
We like movies, though.
Yeah, I mean, we love watching those movies. They're amazing. They're filled with action. They're filled with beautiful women, guys that dress like pimps, ass kicking.
A lot of sending love letters to the Japanese exploitation.
Yes.
Which is a kind of a lapse into it. So seeing these two genres collide in weird editing is very confusing, and I think it's what muddles the movie down overall.
Yeah.
Let's kind of discuss the plot, and then we can break that down as it goes along. The movie kind of opens up with a 2001 when the movie released. I think and I got to tell you, if I had to guess, this was filmed maybe a couple years prior in the 90s, because there's a lot of things going on, and especially if they re-edited and recut the film and added new things, that must have taken a couple years.
I don't know. I was trying. You know how I always look at wardrobe, and I think the 90s wardrobe was trash, but I didn't really find anything trashy about this wardrobe. That's why it makes me think it was like the 2000s.
Well, if the movie was released on 2001, in October of 2001, and say if it took 6 months to shoot, then they did test screenings, and then they re-edited and edited new special effects, I think that this could have maybe been 99. And one of the reasons I bring that up is because the opening, we see two kids that might scream the 90s.
I mean, I guess.
They're buying drugs, and it's like a kind of a shady part of town. And the only reason I say that is because there is one gentleman who's getting chased by a killer dog. And
It looks like a wolf. It's crazy.
yeah, the way they film it, it does look like that. Yeah, it kind of does. I wonder what breed this is.
Yeah,
Dog.
I don't know. It does not. You know what? It looks like a black German Shepherd.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do see that wolf though that you're talking about. I
Yeah.
see that heavily. This guy. Now I guess he lives here. We do know he lives here. We get this to find out later on. His name is Shotgun, and he lives in the apartment across the street from this one building that sticks out because not only is it not surrounded by any other buildings, it is just freestanding in the middle of this like lot, and it has the only way to describe this. Now this is definitely like Bava.
It is. It looks like Castle Grayskull.
Yes, it's so we were talking about. So they must have taken an old building and stuck fake like rock structure, like old castle design onto an old building.
It looked really neat,
It
and I
kinda looks
love
cool
that. I
because-
love it. I love those old buildings and those creepy Gothic buildings.
Yes, it also it adds like it has so much character. The building itself.
It looks like an evil building. It
It
really
does.
does. Like it looks like it has like eyes and like a face, like a skeleton. It looks really cool.
It looks really cool, and we see that seems to be the source of whatever this dog is. But what makes me laugh is this guy lives on the street, and I can only guess for his entire life, from 1979 to 2001, he's being chased every night.
By this dog.
And you'd think he would get the hell out of Dodge at this point, but this guy does not leave. And when we see his inside of his apartment and see that he lives in a vaulted door, like a door that's an actual vault door with at least 16 locks and a stick that goes against it, a metal rod that goes against it.
I mean, I feel like if you can afford a bank door,
Yeah.
then you can afford to move out of the way.
you can get out of here. And I'm like, does he have a normal job? Because he gets chased every night.
I'm going to go ahead and say he never had a normal job.
So how does he afford the apartment?
Hey! What y'all doing over there with that dog?
Is he yours?
Huh?
Is he yours, sir?
Hell no!
What do you care then?
I'm gonna tell you something, boy. Shoot that dog.
Shoot the dog. Whatever you say, sir. I think it's nappy time.
Well, you know,
Okay.
dirty dealings, I guess.
This is just one of those bizarre things. But we see this guy getting chased by a dog, and the dog has red eyes. And it chases him every night. He always gets back into the house, and he shoots at it from his apartment window. There doesn't seem to be anybody else living on the street.
No, there's
Yeah,
not a single person.
It's bizarre, but there are two drug dealers. Another callback to last week's episode, Cool as Ice. We have two drug dealers, and one of the drug dealers happens to be Deezer D. He's playing Stink. He was one of the group that Vanilla Ice is with.
No way.
Yeah, he was on. We talked about last week. He was on ER for
Yeah.
like 200 episodes or something. Yeah, I like his name is Stink.
Okay, can I chime in for just a moment? I do not know a solitary character's name in this film
I got
except Jimmy. Jimmy is the only one. And it's because his name is Jimmy Bones and his name is in the title of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I got.
Aren't you a little mad? I mean, well, Bones.
Bones. Jimmy Bones.
It's a kind of, you think it would be like dog named. You think they would have came up with something cool.
I would think that's too on the nose. You know, he like wants to be a serious actor, right? So he wants to like change it up a bit.
This could have been like K9. You know? That would have been cool.
I don't even know what you Why?
K9.
That's not a pimp name. It's not like a.
I
First
didn't
of
say
all,
it was.
okay,
His
can I
name is
just say-
Kay.
Oh my god. Well, first of all, he's not even a pimp. I don't even know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about. He's not a pimp.
It's
in this
very
movie.
confusing about what he is.
It's just
but
because he dresses like, all
we'll
like
get
that.
we'll get into it. But yeah, the two drug dealers are selling to these two 90s looking kids, and this is the oddest drug deal ever. They basically tell him, "Give us the money." And then you have to go walk down the street to Castle Grayskull. I just guess we're going to call the Bones house Castle Grayskull.
Castle Grayskull.
And there's a brick. We hide the drugs on that brick. Now, why aren't these two drug dealers attacked every night from dogs?
That's a really good question. In this particular neighborhood, though, like you never see another human being except for the guy with the gun in the window trying to shoot the dog night after night.
Yeah.
So, like, who are you selling drugs to? There's no one in this neighborhood. It's like condemned, almost. It's so weird.
It's strange.
And they're not getting chased by the dog.
Yeah, I don't know if the other drug dealer's name is Wheeze, but I have two other character names here: Snowflake and Wheeze.
No,
let's just say
Snowflake. We know is the girl.
which girl?
The bad guy's girlfriend. He kept calling her Snowflake the whole time.
Was it Marilyn?
Marilyn Monroe.
Ho or something? Like that?
I got it myself, a Marilyn Monroe ho.
Okay, that's Snowflake. Okay,
Yes,
that's fun.
he called her Snowflake like
a
90 times.
Of course, she's named Snowflake.
Yes.
So I guess this is Wheeze and Stank. So they sell the drug to the two kids, and of course they go to this house to get the drugs out, but for some reason end up going inside.
Okay, they went inside because the police showed up.
That's right.
Now,
That's right.
here's the thing. These two cops,
Oh, we're talking about the cops.
yeah, well, first, the police show up. That's why they went into the house. They ran.
Well,
And-
they just hear because there was they shot at the dog.
Yeah, but it wasn't them. It was the guy in the window shooting at the dog. He said, "You kids, get away from there. You get away from that house. Get away from that house." And he shot at the dog, and then the cops came.
The cops hear it and they're like, "All right, we gotta go to where the shots are coming from."
Yeah. Now, mind you, these two cops, they literally pull up and they see them running into, the kids buying the drugs. They see them running into the house. And the one cop's like, "No, they didn't go in there." He's like, "No, I literally just saw them go into the house." That's how that came about.
Well, one cop goes inside. There's another cop that stands in the shadows, and he says, "No, there's no one in there. Believe me. Let's leave."
He doesn't want to go inside.
Yeah, well, he is inside when he says that, which is odd. But they leave, the cops, and the two kids inside are like, "Oh, we can escape," but they're being watched by shadows and this dog, and it's very Dracula-esque with the shadows and stuff like that. When the kids get outside, they get chased by the dog, and they get out to the front of the house. And my favorite part of this is one sticks his back completely in the shadows of the doorway. And you're thinking you just were chased by a dog inside of a house and you're scared out of your mind. I think they actually see a shadow or something.
Yeah, they see a shadow.
And this kid doesn't get out of the doorway.
No.
And you can clearly tell at any minute he's going to get ripped inside.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened.
Yes. And then they're both killed in front of this guy in his window at his apartment with a gun. And he watches them die.
It's like, what does he say? Stupid fuckers. I told them not to go in.
Yeah, something like that. So when this happens now, we roll back with the credits starting up. We roll back to 1979. And we get to see an entire, what we were talking about with the way that they shoot it. They changed the color grade. They took entire film scenes in this movie explaining who this main character is, which is Jimmy Bones. And we get to see Snoop Dogg fully decked out in great pimp wear.
He's got the long hair.
He's got his
hat.
rockin' car. He's got the guy that is the shooter across the street that was trying to warn those two kids, whose name is Shotgun. We see that he is his bodyguard.
Yep.
And we get scenes of him basically being the Godfather, where he is like...
Excuse me, what did you say? He's the dog father.
That's, yes. But you know what I mean? We're seeing all the scenes from the movie The Godfather where where the Godfather's walking through the streets and looking at the apples and saying hi to the families and helping out all the people in the street.
Yeah.
It isn't very clear exactly who he is, what he is, and what he does for these people.
Well, he did say it at one point in the movie that it's, you know, his responsibility to look after these people. They're in his community.
But what does that mean? He's not the mayor.
No, but that's what he says, that he wants to look after them. They're his people. So...
Is he just a weed dealer?
Well, we don't know what he does at that point.
That's what I'm getting at. Like,
he's just going through the community and, you know, patting the kids on their heads and buying apples and buying flowers and, you know, kissing all the grandmas and all that stuff. Like, he's just like the it man, you know, like everybody loves him.
And we're only getting this from bits shown through the editing of these credits. Mm-hmm. And we're seeing the times changing as the credits go on. Because we see that Pam Grier is his wife or girlfriend.
His girlfriend, yeah.
And we see them together. We see his core group, which is, not his core group, but we see a shot of 3 guys standing on like a thing smiling. It's basically like, it looks like home videos being shot.
It does. Yeah.
And this must be some of the stuff that was reshot or filmed just to stick in this beginning to make things make sense.
Yeah, well, they have to show us, you know, what kind of person he is. So, like, he's not necessarily a bad dude. He's just not. Like, he might be into some criminal activity, like underground, you know, activity or whatever.
We're not sure.
But nobody seems to think of him like that in the community. I mean, he's literally the Godfather.
Which makes me want to know what was filmed to have this be in order. They must have had a lot of exposition for him being set up, who he is, what he's doing for the community. Mm-hmm. But they edited it into this spliced up thing, this montage, which is really quickly changing in times to the point where you really don't know what's happening. Suddenly we just see that Pam Grier is a drug addict. It seems like real quick.
She's not a drug addict.
She's like down on her luck and she looks like she's doing drugs in the shot.
I mean, she drinks a lot and she's a psychic, which...
You're talking about later. I'm talking about during this opening credits.
Oh. No, in the opening credits, she was hugging on him. And
I know, and then it goes through the time. And then all of a sudden she's messed up and she's doing drugs.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And we see, like, all the different people, and as the time changes, so does the color grade. At first they're using weird, nostalgic, like, brown colors, and then it comes into filming of, like, 2000s. Like, the regular being thing. And then it finally just gets to the point where we catch up in time to 2001 again. So it's really odd that we start in 2001, jump all the way back to 79 for a little fast montage, then catch up and see 2001 again and see that it says Bones.
Yeah.
And then we just meet main characters.
So can I just say something? I recognize the one girl off the bat. So we meet, they're jumping out of a van in present day. We got a girl, 2 brothers, and their friend. And I don't remember any one of their names. Not one. I don't know why. I don't even recall them saying their names.
No, Patrick, I'm telling you that.
Patrick? Gee, Patrick. Patrick is... Patrick. Patrick, stop. Stop. Stop!
You certainly have a way with women, Patrick.
Tia.
Hey, Tia.
Hey.
Tia?
Go ahead, Tia.
Cynthia?
Respect, Cynthia.
Cynthia! Cynthia!
That sounds like your mom.
Cynthia! 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 Open up this door! Open up this door! Cynthia!
What are you doing?
Cynthia, come on out here! I know she's in there! Cynthia! Cynthia!
Yo, Bill. What? Bill. What? Bill, wait! I gotta find Bill. Bill! Plus Maurice, the bottomless pit.
Yo, Maurice.
Maurice?
Maurice, not now.
Yo, Maurice! Maurice! Maurice!
Maurice. Maurice! Maurice, where you going?
But apparently the girl and the 2 brothers are all brother and sister.
Which we didn't know for a little bit. We were trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
So we are introduced, which I would say our main character, our main character, is Patrick. He is played by,
Khalil Kane.
well, see, you already knew.
I saw his name on the credits.
Khalil
Yeah.
Kane as Patrick. I guess he's our main character. He was in Juice and Renaissance Man.
Okay.
We see his brother, played by Merwin Modesser. I'm so bad with this. As Bill. Then we see another guy. He is played by Sean Amesing. He is Maurice. He is the DJ character.
Huh.
He was in Disturbing Behavior.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay,
Everybody's in that movie, so you can't really tell who's who in that movie.
I'm one of the only people on earth that love that movie.
It's actually a good movie. I think it's kind of fun.
Yeah, I think it's great.
And then we see Catherine Isabel, who we know from Ginger Snaps, Freddy vs. Jason, and the Hannibal TV show. She's playing Tia.
Oh, Tia. They don't say her name ever.
Tia.
Hey, Tia.
Hey.
Tia?
Go ahead, Tia.
Tia?
I think they do. I feel like they do a bunch of times, actually.
How did I not know any of these people's names? I mean, I watched an hour and a half of a movie.
Because the way that this movie is shot and edited, it's just moving, and it's so odd because it's not much is happening in the edit, like these scenes. So you think you would really establish them better. It was also confusing that they were all family except for this one guy, Maurice.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason we even know that for some reason Catherine Isabel is the sister of these two brothers is because Maurice just randomly says, I can't wait to get some women up in here. And then she comes downstairs and he's like, oh, here comes one now. And I'm like, don't talk about my sister like that.
I don't think he said women. I think he said hoes.
Oh, okay.
That's why.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Women of the night. So we the way that we're introduced to them is they pull up in this crazy van that has this big skull on the back of it. It's like a murder van. And they get out and they are at Castle Grayskull. They're at Bones' house, Jimmy Bones' house.
Yeah, and we find out that the main brother, Patrick, so he bought this place. He bought it and he wants to turn it into a dance club.
Yeah, it turns out the other three are in a band together, and he's their manager. And he wants to buy this place to make it a club for them to perform at.
I like it, especially that building. It's pretty badass, but it's a bit condemned.
They're buying this place. They go inside this place, and we get to see the innards of this house better than we have so far. And it is even more insane inside because it looks even more like a castle inside.
It's crazy because they keep referring to this place as a house. However, it looks like a Gothic church. Like an old Gothic church inside.
It's way bigger inside. It's like the TARDIS. Inside it is because it's basically just an apartment building outside.
Yeah.
It looks like it has maybe 3 floors. Maybe 2. I don't know. I think there's only maybe 2 because there's those windows, those big windows that are like eyes.
Yeah.
I feel like there could be 3. But it basically 3 stories, and it's, I would say the apartment, it looks like the front door would lead up to a staircase that would go to the different apartments. But when we go in this place, it's this giant inside where there's like a staircase that goes up to the side, and there's a huge floor. So I don't know what this room would have been originally, but there also seems to be rooms on the sides of it.
Yeah.
Which I'm like...
It's weird, but it doesn't give off house vibes. It's like very weird. I love this building. I love it. It's like the star of the movie.
Yeah. It's also got a basement.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going on in this place. And what's crazy is they just got it. And nobody has been in this place since the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
What we're being told, at least from 80 to now, no one has stepped foot in this place.
Right.
Well, except those 2 kids, which, by the way, when these 4 kids walk in, they see one of them looks on the floor at the front door, and you see bloody, like, finger scratch marks going into the house from the 2 kids in the opening.
Yeah, but it gets better than that.
So then they go in and they see like newspapers on the floor, and then one of them just moves one, and there's a full jawbone of a human being.
Yeah, and this just blew my mind. They're like, "Oh, that's a dog jaw."
Yeah.
Oh no, I think it's a cat jaw.
Yeah.
Those were clearly human teeth.
You can't miss that. Yeah.
Clearly human teeth. Like, come on. I know you guys are smart.
You've never seen animals in your life.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, come on."
I mean, I think this is supposed to be funny, but it just comes off because we're just getting into the movie and nothing so far has been really funny.
Right. So I don't know if it was supposed to be funny. I think that they were just, I mean, like, how can we play this off and, not think too much of it? There's no way that this Patrick person was going to let anything sway him on this place, because he put all his money and effort into buying this, and he was going to turn this into a club no matter what. So he didn't care. So all these little things that they see, all the rats everywhere and all the nastiness, he's like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, they actually open an electric box, and there's rats inside the electric box hanging out.
In there. I was like, okay, first of all, how do they even fit in there?
How'd they get in?
Yeah, there's literally 15 rats in there. It was so gross. But so they start, they're like, okay, we'll turn this into something. They don't find any bodies, right? The two in the beginning, just
we
the
never
jaw.
find those. Yeah, we never see those. But we do see that Catherine Isabel goes upstairs and she's eating an entire sandwich.
It's a burger.
She's got a burger in her hand. It's a big burger. And she goes upstairs and she opens a door. And when she opens it, there is the dog from the opening, like, growling at her. And she just goes, "Do you want my burger?" And the dog eats the burger. And I guess they're friends now because she names him and he goes home with them.
Yeah, what does she name him?
Bones. She names him Bones. We think that this is going to be more because we see more shadow movement of like a shadow version of Snoop Dogg flying around the walls a lot.
Can we talk about that? I know that you said they weren't bad, but the special effects are really
don't.
Just...
There's two special effects in this movie, and there's one that's good and one that's bad. There's one that is practical effects that are actually not so bad, like a wall full of people coming out of a wall.
So like that scene in Nightmare on Elm Street with Freddy has like
yes.
The people coming out of his skin. That's what it kind of looks like.
And it's pretty decent. I don't think that's bad at all.
It's all right.
There's also a great special effect of a corpse in the basement. We'll get to that. But there is then the CG special effects that played the 90s after everybody saw Jurassic Park. Everybody wanted to do them. So every movie around this time in the 90s were like, how do we do these special effects? And we do it, it could save money and it'll look better. And very, very rarely in the 90s did anybody come close to doing Jurassic Park. I would say that I don't think that people still have gotten to the Jurassic Park level. But in the 90s, special effects looked really cheesy. And unfortunately, that's what's going on here. This is that 90s horror trying to use CG to do all of their scare stuff, all their horror, all their gore, and none of it ever looked good.
Yes, but they had a decent budget.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
why couldn't you do something good?
I think that, again, when they re-edit, I think they added a lot of special effects. I'm going to tell you one later on that I know for a fact was After Effects, and that's really strange. But they go around, they find that dog, they kind of like, they're all getting like little scares set up, but none of them see them.
Mm-hmm.
And none of them really care. When they go back out to their car, their van, their murder van, and put the dog inside and everything, they get stopped by a very, like, she's out of character Pam Grier. Like in this scene, she's very like, she seems a little out of it. Like she's not all there. She's like screaming at them and coming in the van, and you see that she has a daughter with her.
Well, yeah, obviously because she has a connection to that house.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
She doesn't want them there.
Yeah, I'm just saying that she seemed almost homeless when she came at them at the first time.
Some holes can't be filled, and some hunger can't be satisfied.
Some people need to stagger their medication.
I'm serious. He'll only get hungrier. Come on, Cynthia. Come on.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you see, oh no, she got her shit together. especially with the setup and the opening montage that seemed to, whatever happened to her, which the movie slowly tells you, whatever happened to her in those credits made her fall apart and look like a drug addict and everything during the credits. And then you think when you see her here, oh, she's still like that. But the movie slowly stops that and just goes, nope, she's sane. She's normal.
She's fine. She has a daughter and everything. So she has to take care of her daughter.
Yeah, her daughter's name is Cynthia. She's played by Bianca Lawson. She was in Save the Last Dance, Primary Colors, Dead and Breakfast, and she was on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I do not know, and I kind of think she was one of the Slayers that they meet.
I think she was.
Yeah, wasn't she one of the Slayers who was it? The principal was killing them all?
Yeah.
It was like a whole plot line where the principal was killing those Slayers.
Yeah, I think she was on Buffy.
Her and her mother are there, and the mother's, Pam Grier, is trying to stop them from being near the house and also being with this dog. And for some reason, the two of the guys take it upon themselves that, you know what this means? We should go help them with their groceries. This woman comes at them screaming.
I mean, come on. The daughter's very pretty.
I guess that's all it takes.
So they're like, oh, hi.
And she is pretty. I mean, we get it, but at the same time, it's not the first instinct of any human being like, kind of like,
well, helpful.
Approached in such a manner that you would think you would kind of be weirded out.
Yeah, but it's strange because these two brothers are not like you would imagine. Like, I feel like the people that are going to be the so-called, I guess, I don't know, protagonists, you're supposed to not really feel for them. I don't know, but I do in this.
You do feel for them?
Yeah, because I think they're normal people. Like, I don't think they're assholes. I don't think they're bad people. I think that he was just trying to do a business venture, and they're normal kids. They come from a regular family. I don't see why, like, normally in these kind of movies, I'm just like, oh, okay, who's going to die first, and I don't care. But I didn't want them to die. They seem like nice kids.
My biggest problem with this movie is these actors.
Wow. Okay.
I don't feel like they're related. I don't feel the brother at all. The two brothers are supposed to be brothers. I don't feel it at all. I also don't feel like Catherine Isabel is any way, shape, or form their sister.
I think it's because of the end of the movie that you're saying that.
No, I'm saying it from moment one.
Really?
If we weren't told, we would never have believed it.
I mean, they just seem like a group of friends,
They seem like a group of friends, but then also the problem is with these actors, they never actually are doing any emotion properly. Especially our main character, Patrick.
That's true.
He is always smiling, and he never seems bothered by anything.
Patrick is like completely emotionless. Like, it's very weird.
It's very strange, and he only shows joy to me. And him and this girl, Cynthia, instant connection that seems very unrealistic.
It does. It's almost as if she's never seen a boy before.
If they told us this was a Pinocchio story and she was built by Pam Grier and this is her first experience with a boy, I would go, okay, I believe this more than what the movie goes on to tell us.
Yeah, so they have like a little connection, and Patrick tells them, oh, hey, I'm gonna build a club here, and Pam Grier's like, get out, don't go to that house, it's terrible. There's a dog, and the dog is terrible. Don't go there.
But she gives up on that pretty quick.
She really does, yeah.
Because they walk to their place, which they live, and turns out her job is she's a psychic, and she lives in her business with her daughter. She gives up trying to sway him. Kind of. She's like, lets him talk about how, yeah, we bought the place and we're going to turn it into a club, and my band, I manage them and they're going to play and they're great. And they walk him all the way back home with the groceries. And you can see Cynthia is into him instantly. And she's just like, you'd be smart if you left. That's about it. She doesn't say, look, a lot of crazy stuff happened there. This place is really haunted. You know, like there's bad things happening.
Well, because movie, they have to figure it out for themselves.
The guy named Shotgun across the street shoots at a dog every single night.
Yes.
And he's always being attacked religiously. Maybe you not want to be around that dog.
Yes.
No actual, because like you said, because movie.
Well, also, it's the question again comes up where why wouldn't she take her daughter out of this neighborhood? First of all, there's only one business going on in that neighborhood left, and it's her business. There's only a psychic. Who the hell in a basically condemned neighborhood is going to go to a psychic?
Exactly.
Like, what?
And there's drug dealers, too, putting drugs on the side of the house and never being attacked.
Right.
It seems like the only person really being attacked is Shotgun across the street.
Yeah, and the dog, I mean, it can't really do anything to him. He's shooting at it from his apartment window. It's just kind of silly. But they adopt this dog and they take it back to their house where we meet their parents.
Yes. The mother in which you never see. You see maybe she says 2 lines and one of them is just like picking up dishes and going, "Should I get the door, honey?" That's about it for that character.
Yeah.
But there is the father who's played by Clifton Powell. He's playing Jeremiah Pete. He was in Ray, Rush Hour, and the Friday sequels.
Oh.
Yeah.
I know he looked kind of familiar.
Jeremiah Pete. Yeah, he's the father. And he's basically your straight-laced father, very business-centric, and doesn't want his kids anywhere near, like, the hood.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I raised you better than that. I struggled. You know, he gives you all those speeches. I
We don't know
struggled
what
and got out.
he really does. Like, he does, like, property development, I guess.
Doesn't he say something great like, I don't need that. I have
I have a Lexus.
I have a Lexus.
Stop poisoning your mind with that ghetto paranoia. That's all just the ways of people justifying their own failure.
No, Dad. The man has been lying to us for 100 years.
Thank you.
I'm still waiting for my 40 acres and a mule.
You gonna be waiting.
Son, you wouldn't know a mule if one bit you in the ass. Personally, I don't need a mule. I've got myself a Lexus, and nobody gave it to me.
I mean, they're very well-to-do. They live in, like, a nice
They're
home.
in suburbia, yeah.
With, like, a gate and everything. Like, they're pretty well-to-do. This father, he seems kind of, like, detached emotionally from the kids.
He, again, does not feel related to these kids at all.
No, he doesn't.
Nobody here feels actually like real characters. They all feel like actors put in roles.
Yeah.
That's a big problem with this movie. It feels very disjointed from anybody else but Snoop Dogg.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he's in a movie that is interesting.
I guess to get into the plot a little more, the important stuff. So doesn't Patrick bring his father to show him
Well, that's the thing.
house?
They keep going back to the house before he brings the father there. He goes back to the house a bunch, and they're fixing it up. And they're all experiencing little things. Like, we see the wall of people. Because there is a bed.
Okay, I asked you about this. This is bothersome because they have a beautiful home that they live in. So why is there a bed in here?
I guess it's because they own this business and they're thinking they're going to bring out girls.
Oh, all right. That makes sense. But
I'm guessing, but that means they also got a mattress and sheets and they brought it up there and it had. This is a crazy bedroom. There's nothing but an outline to put a mattress inside of it. And that's exactly what they do. And it's shaped in a way where it's like center of the room. And there's like markings on the wall to perfectly match to the bed.
it looks like a crucifix in neon. That's what it looks like.
Okay.
And it's weird. They're all seeing different things.
Yeah, and there's that one kid is sleeping in the bed, and we see that it's not, the wall of people is demons. So some reason, this place is like a gateway to hell. It's very confusing of exactly what it is.
All right. Can't believe I'm telling you this. My mother says that every house is 2 houses. Every street, 2 streets.
2's good.
There's a whole city, a whole world kind of beside, kind of on top, just below. the city of the dead. There's this invisible wall, a fabric that kind of keeps things separate.
Lucky thing.
Sure is, but when something bad happens, you know, something really bad, the wall breaks, tears.
And the dead get out?
When the living fall in, you know, who knows?
But we see that there are multiple souls coming out of the wall. And it is creepy looking. There's like a lot of prosthetics. There's dummies. There's a whole bunch of stuff practically coming out of this wall while this kid's sleep. Like he's listening to music with his headphones. Very like reminiscent of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
And they're surrounding him, but they're scared off before he opens his eyes by the voice of Snoop Dogg saying,
"Go, boy."
Well, yeah, so they all start experiencing things like, you know, seeing things and feeling like weird presences and stuff like that. But like, I feel like they're not scared by any of it. Like they're taken aback by it, but like they see so many supernatural things going on in this place. I don't know if you notice this, but like they really get this place up and running very quickly.
Well, I want to talk about that. One of the craziest things is when they're trying to clean the house up before they open up and everything like that, and before they brings the dad over. One of the things that happens is the Pam Grier's daughter, Cynthia, I believe her name is, she comes and says, "I want to help you clean up. My mom told me to stay away from this place, and now I'm here because I'm into you." And so they go in the house, and the first thing they see is a pile of blood. At least they say it's blood. It is clearly red paint dumped on the floor. And
it looks terrible.
My favorite bit here is it seems to be pulsating. So they're all standing around it, and one of them grabs the floor next to it and goes, "It feels like a heartbeat." And they go, "It's just the pipes."
They are completely unmoved by anything that happens. Now, the first time I saw like, you know, hands coming out of the wall or whatever, I would instantly be like, okay, peace out. I'm out. You know, I'm not staying here. But they see so much stuff and they still want to open this place. Like in this shitty neighborhood, it's just the most baffling of decisions I have ever seen. Like it makes no sense. Now, these are well-off kids. Their family has money. You can literally open a club anywhere. Why does it have to be in this dump?
Yeah. And one of the things that we kind of get that goes with that, we were saying, is we now see a cop go to a drug dealer. And so we have a drug dealer character who the other two drug dealers were working for. The character's name is Eddie Mack, or Mac Daddy. He is played by Ricky Harris. He is in Heat, Dope, Tales from the Hood, and Poetic Justice. He is a drug dealer. He's got the girlfriend, Snowflake, that is the Marilyn Monroe hoe. At least that's what he says.
Mm-hmm.
And now the cop comes to him, and we see that he's a dirty cop. Now, it was very clear that this cop is in a fat suit. And it is very jarring. Because it looks like he belongs in Sin City.
Oh my God, he does.
But it's like without the cool color lighting, so it doesn't look neat.
Yeah.
It looks really weird, and I love it because in one scene you said, "Doesn't it look like he's wearing a lot of makeup?" I'm like, he's in a fat suit. We saw him in the opening, the actor. So the actor's name is Michael T. Weiss. He plays Detective Lupovich.
Isn't it Slupovich?
Online it says Lupovich, but I mean it did
sounds like
sound
they
like they
call
said
him Sloopy.
Slupovich. Yeah.
Officer Slupovich, a.k.a. Loopy Loop. Lupovich.
Al Lubavitch. Long time no see.
He was a main actor on the show Days of Our Lives, and he's a big voiceover actor. Did some of my DC Comics animated series. But he is in a fat suit, and it is very weird. And the only reason to do this is because they want to show him a couple times in the past.
Right, when he's young.
When he looks young. He's the only actor that they really busted their ass to try to make look different. Although I will say the dad, when he's clean cut, does look very different.
He still looks older.
But the guy that's playing the drug dealer, on the other hand, does not look like they changed him a bit.
They didn't even try.
He's just got a hairnet on now.
No, they didn't even try at all.
Didn't try at all. But we see that the cop is dirty, and he specifically tells the drug dealer, hey, but that guy sold the house. When did that happen, and why did it happen? And the drug dealer's like, wait a minute, what house? And he's like, you know the house I'm talking about. It was supposed to be on the market. It wasn't supposed to be on the market at all. It was supposed to be like sat on. And he sold it to some kids. And it's very clear here that this drug dealer's let those kids die. And that's why in the beginning the cop didn't care that he saw the kids get sucked inside. Because he's virtually clearing it up. And he says, it's weird that you're killing your clientele or letting your clientele be killed. So that's like a weird setup. And that's why we now find out that the father owned the house. And the son bought it from the father without him knowing.
Yeah, he went through some kind of investment company.
Yeah, he just says that he went. Now, we don't even know how he has money. We don't know anything about that.
He could have taken out a loan. I mean,
guess
we don't
so.
know. I mean, he's old enough to make his own decisions, so his father didn't even need to be involved.
Yeah.
But he does, when he takes his father to the house, his dad will not even step foot in that house. He starts screaming at him.
Yeah.
So obviously right there, you would think that Patrick would be like, okay, what is going on?
Yeah,
What
he's
is
not.
with
He's
this
never
house?
phased.
Like, everyone has told him, stay out of that house. Like, 3 different people now. His father literally had a meltdown in front of the house. Like, please don't go in there. Please don't go in there. You know, we'll get the money back. We'll do whatever, but please just don't go in there. And he never even once says, what happened here?
Yeah, he doesn't even. The father doesn't say please.
Son, is this some kind of sick joke?
No! Look, Pop!
You listen to me, boy. I didn't work all of my goddamn life to get out of this neighborhood for you to move right back in it.
I thought you'd be proud of me. Just trying to do what you did. Take nothing and make something out of it.
Nobody will ever come down here, son. Look at this fucking neighborhood. Son, shut it down. Shut it down. The company will buy it back.
No. Nuh-uh, not this time, Pop. Look, I did this on my own. And we will open tonight.
Bullshit! That is bullshit! You sell it back and that is a fucking order! Do you fucking hear me? You sell it, goddammit! You shut it down and you sell this fucker!
He starts screaming at him in the street. And when he turns around, he sees Pam Grier. Happens to be standing across the street staring at him. He stops. It seems like he recognizes her. And then the guy's shotgun is up on the window. And they see each other too. And it's a very surreal moment.
It reminded me of like a Clint Eastwood standoff. Like, they're just staring at each other.
Yeah.
And you know, Pam Grier, she was just like looking at him like, damn, I want to kill this motherfucker.
Yeah. And it cuts away from this. There's no drive home. We don't know how does the son go with him. This is a good opportunity for the son to be asking questions about why are you freaking out? Why is everybody so scared of this house? What's going on?
He doesn't ask one question.
The movie skips past it. Does not care.
And the worst thing is that everyone inside of the house that was helping, you know, fix it up and whatever, they all saw things, and not one of them tells each other, "Hey, man, there's something wrong here."
Yeah, and
nothing.
One of the most bizarre moments is that Cynthia goes over there and just automatically starts hooking up with Patrick in that bed, and she feels things. She in the basement. They see that there's a door in the basement, and the dog is scratching on it, and so they hit the door open. And when they go in there, they find a corpse, a skeleton. And they say it's Jimmy Bones.
Well, but they recognize the skeleton because of the ring, don't they?
Well, no, one of them just says, "Oh, it's Jimmy Bones." And for some, I think it's Maurice, he just starts doing a nursery rhyme.
How the hell would you know anything about this? Number one, it was 1979. That was ages ago. You were probably just like, you know, not even born. I mean, they're like, how would you know? How would you know that?
This is another thing that's also odd, is that when Patrick hears of Jimmy Bones' name, he keeps acting like something feels familiar here. He knows he doesn't. He goes, I kind of remember this. I have been here before. And we kind of see flashes of him maybe as a child seeing Jimmy Bones.
Yeah, but that wouldn't make sense for the timeline because he would be much older. He would be much older than everybody else.
He would be 21.
I don't think so. I think he'd be much older than that.
If it's 79 in 2001.
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, I mean, so he suddenly remembers that he's seen him before.
Well, he doesn't really remember it, but he does get these glimpses where we're knowing something is up with him. And we know now that it's his father is the connection because his father's being freaked out by the house. So we know that he must have been here before when he was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that both Shotgun and Pam Grier's characters recognize that he is with him, and they also must be going, oh, they're related. We know that guy. So, but nobody ever mentions it to anybody. It seems almost unimportant, but they keep showing it.
It just seems like all the actors, the younger actors, I shouldn't say kid, but the younger actors are just going through the motions. They don't have, it's like they're just saying their lines and they're moving on. They literally have no emotions in their bodies at all. Like there's nothing. There's no emoting at all. There's no questions being asked.
None.
Nobody has any, like they're seeing all of these weird things. People are telling them stuff about this house. And not once do they ever say, well, I'd like to hear the story of this place. And the first thing I would ever ask Pam Grier is, can you tell me what the story of this house is? Because I sure as hell wouldn't ask the guy with the freaking shotgun waiting upstairs.
Exactly.
You know? And obviously his father's acting like a nutbag. So I would have asked Pam Grier, but nobody says a fucking word to each other.
No one says a word to each other.
Not even, oh, did you see that? Or did you hear that? Or anything. And all this weird shadow shit is happening. Nobody says anything.
The weirdest part about that is what I was bringing up a little bit was that Cynthia and her mother, Pam Grier, they have powers. Apparently, they have some kind of connection to the spirit world in some way, and that's why she is a psychic or a medium, because she has a gift, and they constantly bring this up. And at one point, they show the daughter painting, and the mother comes to her and says, I wish you used your gift better than just painting. And she says, well, at least I'm using my gift. So it's like a strange thing about how...
It's not very clear what it is.
It's not very clear, but she does... We see that when she's in the house and they find the corpse in the ground of Jimmy Bones' bones, she sees a shadow in the corner and she stares at it. No one else can see it.
Mm-hmm.
But she's brought out of it, and every time she keeps getting glimpses of things from the past, and they're like shown to us in little clip shows real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they decide not to tell anybody about the corpse until after their show opens, which is okay, batshit crazy.
Okay.
And for Cynthia to not be like, no, something's wrong here, I feel something, she goes along with it, and what's even worse is she goes upstairs and they start to have sex, Patrick and her. They start to fool around. It's not sex, but they seem like they're going to lead into sex very quickly until when they're kissing, she starts having visions. And that's because Maurice sees a ring on the skeleton's hand and he removes it by breaking off the finger.
Yeah, so, okay, but here's the thing. She never says anything. It's like, you're in this creep factor 11 house. And you don't even know these people, but you're having weird feelings, like sensitivity, like whatever, psychic sensitivity to things, and you won't even tell this guy? Like, nobody tells nobody nothing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, just don't go in there. It's like that old man in the freaking Friday the 13th movies. Yeah. You're doomed.
Yeah, and except in that movie, that guy's at least warning people. Here, they're just going, you should stay away. Stop it.
Yeah,
Bad.
It's ridiculous. Now, if I saw a man sitting in a window just all day and all night with a freaking gun,
yeah,
I would not be so like jazzed to go back to that house. It's like the poorest decision anyone ever made. Also, can we talk about the sister who has like no lines in the movie?
Yeah, she has. It's really crazy. She does not have any plot.
Catherine Isabel has literally no reasoning to be in this film at all. The only thing, like, she's fine. They're all in the basement, and there's a corpse there, and she's not even like moved
She
by
took
it.
home a dog that was locked in a room that ate a sandwich.
Yeah, she is like not even bothered by the fact that they left this corpse. And she does say, "Let me call the police," and they say no, and she's just like, "Okay." Like, there's just something wrong with all these characters. There's something wrong with them. It just bothers me. No one asks any questions. No one feels anything at all. They open this fucking club, and everybody's there dancing and partying and having a good time.
Yeah, I was going to say, before the club opens up, though, when he steals the ring, that's when everything starts going wrong. So things start coming out, and I think while they're making out, she has a vision because of the ring being stolen, and something is happening where the corpse starts growing veins. And this is one of the cool practical effects that reminds me of Hellraiser.
Is it like reverse?
That's what Hellraiser did too. They're removing it, but yeah, then they rewind it and then they show it coming back on. So it looks like it's growing back. It's like its muscles and stuff like that.
That was the only effect of the movie I thought was cool. Okay. I thought the rest of it was cheesy.
I think there's a couple really cool things. Yeah, she sees visions, and now I believe at the same exact time that is happening, they're making out. Pam Grier has a bunch of business people come over for a psychic reading, and she gets visions of. She's asking, "Is anybody here? The spirit that's here, are you for them? No. Are you here for me? Yes." And so it's Jimmy Bones, and she sees flashes of something bad about to happen to her daughter. And her daughter is seeing flashes of the past that seem to connect all the characters we've seen with Jimmy Bones. But we're not really sure what's going on yet. So she comes over and she goes in. She gets her daughter away from them. Now you think this is the moment where it's like now she's a little worried. That she goes back home. And they are now ready to open up their club. So they open up their club. And they have an entire thing. And a lot of people show up.
It's packed.
It's actually a packed thing. I don't know who. They got big letters they put on the front. It's so crazy. And they start playing. And they have a DJ. And apparently the one brother Bill and Catherine Isabel are supposed to be singers, I think. Because they have headphones on with the mics. And they're dancing on top of the stage. Mm-hmm. And there's a whole bunch of people dancing around them as Patrick just watches happily. And you never hear them singing. It's very bizarre. But then suddenly Cynthia shows back up now in a like black leather outfit. She had this vision. She ran home with her mother. And now she just came back like everything's fine.
Yeah, nobody talks to anyone in this movie. Nobody has. I just. What?
No, you keep saying that. I know.
It's true. Like it started to get me annoyed after a while. I'm just like, oh, like come on. She's going back to this house obviously because she likes Patrick.
Yeah, and they again just start making out like there's no problem, but at the same time, the ring is some reason Jimmy Bones somehow the dog. I don't know how the dog Bones is connected to Jimmy Bones. I don't understand the two of these things whatsoever because they don't seem They don't seem like the same person.
No, I thought that he was going to morph into the dog, or I did
too.
The dog was going to morph into him or whatever, like they do in the video.
Which kind of happens though too
in Snoop Dogg's video, but like. That doesn't happen at all. There's no point. It's like this dog is like the Hounds of Hell or something from like Lost Boys, Like he's just a demon dog. That's all I can.
It's a demon dog. It's so confusing as to where it's coming from, how it's happening. But the dog comes to the dance floor and shapeshifts into a woman that seductively dances at Maurice as he's DJing.
Yeah, which causes him to follow her because, boys. Oh, look at this hot piece of ass. So he follows her upstairs to this vacant room. Guess what? Guess what happens? So it
turns into the dog and viciously rips him to shreds. And what I love about this is they warn, hey, Patrick, stop making out with your girlfriend. Go upstairs and get him. We need him to DJ more. Right? So he goes upstairs. When he goes upstairs, he opens the door and sees the dog is eating him. And he goes, oh my God. And the dog looks up at him, turns into Snoop Dogg's face and says,
Oh my God. Oh
The guys doing love don't eat no fried chicken.
God. Oh shit.
And it's only because they made up a joke later on, or early in the movie, that Maurice doesn't want chicken sandwiches because he thinks it's the man created it to bring down.
He says it's the KKK.
Yeah, the KKK created fried chicken.
Oh my
So,
God.
so Snoop Dogg is eating him. While he's eating him, the dog is. The Snoop Dogg is in the dog, is not in the dog. I don't know.
Make any sense.
But as that's happening, we're seeing the skeleton grow. And we get a scene that gives us the flashback, right? We get the whole story.
We get the whole flashback of what happened.
The father of Patrick and Bill, he's trying to get Snoop Dogg, who is his best friend. They grew up together. And as Snoop Dogg repeatedly says, we were grasshoppers together. They are best friends, but he wants himself to have something. And he's like, I want to get out of Snoop Dogg's shadow. So I want to get my own piece of the pie. I want to leave this place and I want to start something new. I want to be a success. And Snoop Dogg's like, I want to stay here. This is perfect. This is paradise to me.
He says this is my community. I want to stay here and look out for my people.
Yeah. So he's mad about that, but he is trying to make a deal with Jimmy Bones by bringing this guy who's the drug dealer.
Yeah, he's wearing the guy with the hairnet that's with Snowflake.
Yeah, Big Mac or whatever the hell it is. And the cop are the two people. They're trying to get him to sell what looks like crack.
That's right. Shotgun guy is his bodyguard. That's
Shotgun
right.
is Jimmy Bones' bodyguard.
That's right.
So they set up a meeting and they come to his place. And they go to his office and they tell him, we want to sell crack in the community or whatever. And Jimmy Bones is like, no, I'm not having it. You can sell it all you want. You can do it. Just don't do it in my neighborhood. And thanks for coming in. And, I'm happy to talk to you, but I'm not going to be a part of it. And my community's not going to be a part of it. So they get mad and the cop pulls a gun out. And just then, when he has the gun on him, they make his bodyguard drop his gun as well, and they hold them all up. And Pam Grier comes in, and so they go to put a gun on her as well. They make Snoop Dogg smoke crack, and then he pulls out a switchblade, but he's high, so it's not a switchblade, by the way, which the nursery rhyme keeps saying that he has a switchblade. It's a butterfly knife. It's totally different. He goes to swipe and cuts the cop's hand, making him shoot Snoop Dogg. So he falls to the floor. And then he gets the switchblade and tells them all, I'm not going to be going down for this alone. We're gonna do this together. And we're going to get rid of him. I need each one of you guys to pick up the knife and stab him.
Right.
So you're all a part of it.
They all put their fingerprints on the knife and they all stab him except Pam Grier. So she doesn't want to. She's like, I love you. I love you. And so Snoop Dogg makes it easier on her and kind of just brings the knife into himself.
Yeah.
So he kind of kills himself. Then you see them dragging his body out, but not before they rip off Pam Grier's dress.
And throw it on the body.
And throw it on the body
to wrap
like,
it up, apparently.
Sop up the blood or whatever.
Yeah. I feel bad because one of the things you brought up is Shotgun, the bodyguard. He doesn't want to do it either. And he's got a gun on him. He actually looks at his gun that's across the floor to grab it. And the cop says, don't even think about it. Right. So he does the stabbing with a gun to his head, but he does it in a way where he just like fastly does it and looks away. Like he doesn't want to be doing it.
Right.
And I kind of feel bad for him. I don't think that's what he wanted to do.
No, he definitely
didn't.
But
he also didn't want to die.
Right.
And it's kind of like dick that Snoop Dogg's like, you should have died.
I know.
Like that's like a thing in this movie is like the only two here that really deserve it. I mean, I guess that the father of the two kids the three kids, might deservedly need, revenge on him too, because he kind of set this up.
He
But
set it
he
up. He was
also
there,
feels
and
bad about stabbing him and getting him killed. He goes, I never wanted this.
yeah, but he did it, and he didn't even hesitate.
He says, he hesitates, and then he goes, it's like you said, all for yourself, like everybody for themselves.
I mean, it's still fucked up.
It's fucked up.
He killed somebody.
Without a doubt. I mean, it's. I just don't think that he's as fault as like the movie wants you to think. I feel even less so with Shotgun. I feel bad for that guy.
Yeah, he was kind of forced.
Yeah, so they're all stab him, and they say clean him up, and we're gonna bury him in the basement, and we're gonna shut this place down.
And that's what they did.
And so that's what they did. They buried him. That's why he was in the basement, and this place has been haunted and not gone in since then. So now we see as Maurice is being murdered, the bodies completely come back together. He's grown into it, and he is now full on Bones, the Freddy Krueger-esque character.
Yeah, and it's pretty rad when he makes his appearance.
Full black suit with red striping. It's cool. It's cool looking.
He's got a black leather long coat and a hat that matches. He looks badass.
He looks badass.
He really does.
I was like, there's no way this should fail, this movie, with Snoop Dogg doing this.
Free at last. Free at last.
It just seems so fun.
Yeah, he's a blast.
What's really odd is it starts maggots. The dog comes out, and when Patrick goes to try to warn somebody, he trips and falls against the wall. The dog comes at him and throws up maggots all over his face.
That was the most disgusting shit.
There's
my God.
Huge maggot plot line here, because now so many maggots come out of this dog that the whole house starts raining in maggots.
Is there any trivia
No,
on
I
that?
could not find any trivia on this maggot scene.
Seriously?
Yeah, because every single character now has maggots dripping on them, on the dance floor, into their food, into their drinks.
so
They're eating
nasty.
it goes on, and they all start realizing, they all start screaming because maggots start raining from the sky.
Yeah, but then it gets worse because you see Snoop come, and they can see him. They can see him completely, and he makes the
light bulb
explode.
And it starts an
causes
electrical
a
explosion.
Fire.
Yeah.
The whole fucking place burns, and everyone's running out, and they find out that what's his name, Maurice, he's dead.
Well,
They all
Patrick
find out.
sees it, and again, Patrick does not reference Maurice's death again.
He doesn't react at all. He doesn't shed a tear. He doesn't get upset. There's nothing.
When they get outside, they're all in the street, and Pam Grier shows up and holds her daughter, and they see Jimmy Bones in the doorway with the fire going around him. And Patrick only looks over and goes, now, first off, let's just get a couple things straight here. One of his best friends just died.
Mm-hmm.
His business is up in flames.
Yep.
It was the opening night. This was his whole goal. And he just looks over at them and is like, basically with a face of, are you guys okay? To Pam Grier and her daughter. Like, that's it. There's no, concern or telling Bill or Catherine Isabel, oh, our best friend just died.
No, there's nothing. There's no emotion coming off of any of these people, period. The only one who's actually acting is Pam Grier.
And I think that she's extremely overboard. There's a couple scenes where she's just screaming in the background. That is very, very odd.
Yeah, but at least it's something.
Yeah, you're right. It's a little more. I would say that the best actor in the movie is actually the daughter.
Well, she's the only one that's really trying.
She's doing stuff here. Every time there's something happening with her, she's selling it. Okay, she's into him. You can see that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then she's angry. You can see that.
Mm-hmm.
It's decent. I would say that's probably the best of the actors. Although I also think the guy playing the father is not so bad.
He just yells a lot.
Yeah, he's doing it really well, though. He's very believable. I would say Shotgun is, too, because that's what now happens, is that Jimmy Bones is out for revenge.
Yeah.
On everybody who wronged him.
I feel like this is when the movie gets started and we're almost over.
Yeah, we're almost over, yeah.
All right, so that we're more than halfway through. I mean, the movie is literally almost over. And right now we're getting to see Snoop come out with his badassery. And
I think the first one is he goes after Shotgun.
he goes after Shotgun, but I also feel bad for Shotgun.
I do too, and he even tells Shotgun, like, you should have died with me. You should have fought. You should have fought and died.
And he said, you were my best friend. You're my bodyguard.
Well, you were my guy. Yeah, you were my guy. He goes, I didn't want that to happen. I tried so hard to stop them. I wasn't a part of them. And then he's like, you didn't try hard enough.
He said you should have died with me, or
Yeah.
at least died trying.
Died trying, yeah.
And I mean, I get it. You hired this man to be a bodyguard. Like, he's...
Well, I'm guessing he's a friend too, but I mean, it would die. But I get it. I get it.
At least try. You know, like, you could have at least taken out one of them if you tried.
Yeah.
But you got
I feel like it's so funny because you think this is gonna be a really cool death or something crazy is gonna happen between these guys. Nah, he just slashes his throat and the red paint falls out. And then when he goes on the floor and is dying, Shotgun, he sings
Sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home.
But then the next person that he goes after
is the two drug
is
dealers.
the two drug dealers for no reasoning. Why?
Well, they make sense, and this is one of the things I wanted to bring up to
the
you.
two drug dealers in the beginning, we should note.
The two drug dealers that are working for Mac, Big Mac, whatever the hell his guy's name is, the drug dealer.
Hairnet. Let's call him Hairnet.
These two drug dealers now, this actually makes sense because these are people peddling the thing that he didn't want in his neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense. But in the original script, they did not get killed.
Oh.
They actually are in the original script, or I guess the original edit. I think there's an actual edit or deleted scene of the alternate version of this scene. Because what he does is just slashes their face up, and they run and they go warn the drug dealer. But I guess they didn't have more to do, but then they realized we need to kill them because his character, Jimmy Bones, wouldn't want them in his neighborhood. So he would want to get revenge on them.
True.
So what they ended up doing instead is going back and reshooting that he goes and slashes them and the camera pans to a wall and their blood hits the wall in the shapes of their shadows.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. It was
I don't
weird.
either. It's so weird.
What a
and
waste of a
off-putting.
special effect. It's like stupid.
Again, and this is reshoots.
Stupid.
Very
I
strange.
didn't get it at all.
Very, very strange.
But then he goes after Hairnet after this.
He does.
And poor Snowflake. I mean, he kills Snowflake.
We just see her legs sticking out of a barrel or
But
something.
why? She didn't do anything wrong. She wasn't even around for all that shit that happened in the 70s.
Yeah.
She was just there. She was, just with this guy, as his girlfriend.
True.
So, I felt bad for her. That wasn't fair. And then...
This is when we get one of our 90s effects again with the
Yeah.
CG. He shoots glass with a shotgun, and he's holding up a mirror, and he's shooting it, and then he makes all the glass shards fly into this guy, into the wall, and impales him onto it. But he's still alive enough to let Snoop Dogg walk up behind him and cut his head off.
Yeah, that was fun.
And
it was cheesy.
the best part about that is the reason it happens is because he uses this guy's a living decapitated head now.
As a vessel for his soul.
Well, he uses it only to make him make a phone call. They'll call the cop to go and meet him at a location. So he meets him at a location, and then the head is talking like, "Hey man, I did what you told me to do. Now let's just get rid of me." And he's cursing him out, but then Snoop Dogg just smashes his head into the side of a building, and he's like, "Man, you're smashing my head into a building now? Is this happening?"
Bones, you motherfucker, what you done to me?
Not half of what I'm planning on.
Man, this is some twisted shit, man. What you need with my head?
I'm just using it to carry your soul, sucker.
My soul? Fuck you. I killed you, you killed me, we even. Damn, why you gotta get all meta-fucking physical, nigga? Shit. I'm sick. Oh, you just gonna bang my shit up against the wall?
It's actually one of the funniest bits.
Yeah, but see, this is the kind of shit that should have been going on throughout the whole film.
This should have been the whole movie.
It was too little too late when we're this late in the game here, and it's like, all right, now I'm so bored, I'm ready, and now you're gonna get funny? Now you're gonna get all, this is stupid. I don't want this now. I wanted it an hour ago.
And you think, yeah, and I agree. And you think that the killers are going to be so great and to save the movie, especially of the cop who is really the fault. He's the real bad guy here.
Yeah, he is.
He just gets killed really, and he's in a fat suit. So you think that they're going to do something with that?
No.
No, they could have just made him have gray hair. Why
What
did they put him in a
happened to
fat
him?
suit? I think he just.
Didn't they get they took him into the wall of souls.
Well, no, that happens later because he kills him, but then he also decapitates his head and brings it with him, and then goes and kidnaps the father. He goes to the father's house and kidnaps the father and brings him with the 2 decapitated heads to the wall of souls. Feeds the 2 heads screaming to the souls. And that's all that happens there. But the 2 heads, we have to watch the 2 heads, and I don't know. It's supposed to be a good joke. It's an awkward, weird moment.
It is.
But at the same time, all the kids and Pam Grier are figuring out how can we stop it. And the best way they figure out is Pam Grier just randomly goes, "It was my dress. We have to burn it."
It's because his blood is still in the building, and that is keeping him, making him able to come back, which is
he's like
stupid.
She's like, his blood on my dress is the gateway that's in that building, and that's why they're crossing over. And I'm like, that's a large leap in logic to what's happening in the movie.
This is where the movie for me gets really dumb. Like
it's strange. It's so strange.
Yeah, because now they all go back to the house.
And when we say all, it's only Bill, Patrick, the daughter, and Pam Grier.
Yeah, they leave Catherine Isabel at home with
the
mom.
Yeah, who said she's going to call the cops, who never show up in the movie.
Never show up. Never. At all. So it's Pam Grier, the daughter, like you said, and the 2 brothers. They go back to the house. And for some reason, it's like, the Ghostbusters, like, what's in Dana's fridge when she opens.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. So it's turned into like what she says is the gateway to hell.
It's like they're crossing over to the gateway, and so there's like the souls on the walls. Everything is like this really cool purple. Everything's filmed on angles. I can see the giallo here. I actually was telling you I like the lighting. They're like ripping through like webbing on the walls. And it's like, I don't mind any of this. This is actually looking interesting. It doesn't look bad.
I like the colors. I just didn't like the effects. It just looked cheesy as hell.
But the funniest part about this is Bill sees Maurice and follows him.
Yep.
And he's trapped and he's sucked into the souls.
Maurice is dead, but he's just appearing as like a
as the
ghost.
core is one of the ghosts in the soul wall. And so he comes out and Bill follows him in and gets sucked in and gets killed. And we just see Patrick go, "Oh, well, Bill." And then the girl, the daughter of Pam Grier, she goes, "He's gone. Let's go." And then the whole time Patrick is like, the actor playing Patrick is just like smiling. And then they go and turn around to run down another hallway, and I guess they ADR'd in the line, "But I have to find Bill."
He's gone. This way.
Cynthia, wait. I gotta find Bill.
I have to say this. You know how we always say that the actors are only as good as their director?
True.
Okay. They
It's
were
always
not
true.
given any goddamn instructions. They weren't. There's no way that they were given
But you're
instructions.
given the instruction that your brother just got killed, which makes me wonder in the original script if this really was his brother, and then they just maybe added that all in to make them all make sense.
Maybe shed a tear. Act like
That's
you're
what I'm saying.
concerned. Something.
The actor playing Patrick has to know, well, my friend just died, or my brother just died.
Yeah.
At least do a little bit of something. You don't really
Something.
need directing here. That's just like, do something.
Yeah, I'm baffled.
Yeah, so they go off and they see a window where Pam Grier has now joined up with Jimmy Bones while all that was happening. And Jimmy Bones and her are like dancing in a candelabra room, which is like candles are everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're dancing and they're in love or whatever. And she completely starts forgetting about what her mission was. To stop him, they have to burn the dress.
Mm-hmm.
And the daughter sees it now, and they go into the doorway, and we are now completely forgotten about Bill. He's dead. It doesn't matter.
You have to actually address the fact that Snoop actually hands her the dress that's covered in blood, and he says, "I always loved you in this dress." So she puts it on.
And also, I have to point out that they also have just killed Patrick's father. He got sucked into the soul wall multiple times and is ripped apart.
He lost his brother and his father and his best friend, and he has not shed one tear.
And he's never stopped smiling. And when they get in the doorway, the daughter sees her mother and him, Jimmy Bones together, and Jimmy Bones turns and goes, "My daughter's here now."
So he knew that was his daughter.
So that she was his daughter all along. She goes over and starts dancing with him. And while that's happening, Patrick starts like going to a mirror. He hears like all of his friends screaming from the mirror. And he goes to touch it, but he sees that it's a trap or whatever. He shatters the mirror, and then he tells her to stay away from Jimmy Bones. And while he's screaming for it and shattering the mirror, because he sees his father reaching out, he actually pulls out a knife and breaks the glass and uses a piece to cut his father's arm off from grabbing him into the soul wall. While this is all happening, because she's watching it, Pam Grier remembers what's really going on and sees that her daughter is with Jimmy Bones. So she naturally does the only thing that you could do in this situation. She sets herself on fire, kills herself.
So I motioned to you, I said, I know she has to burn the dress, but does she have to be wearing the dress while she's burning it? She could have taken that dress off. What is wrong with this woman?
Why kill yourself?
So, this is the most asinine shit. So...
Well, he burns up too.
He burns up and there's like
They have to escape.
They escape, yeah. So, but they walk out together, Patrick and the girl, and they're just completely unfazed by what just happened.
Well, not really, because I said to you, the girl playing the daughter looks visibly disgusted by something.
She
and I said,
does,
what's going on with her right now? Is she angry? She looks like she's about to kill him.
Yeah, mostly talking about Patrick.
They get out into the street, and they've destroyed Jimmy Bones, apparently. He looks at I guess Patrick has a photo that Pam Grier had of her and Jimmy Bones, where Jimmy Bones' face changes in the picture a lot. So he looks at the picture, and then Jimmy Bones looks at him, and he's like, "Oh, what the hell?" And we see her from behind start having maggots on her face, and she spits the maggots into his face. And it goes to black, and it's over.
So what does that even mean? So are we saying that Jimmy Bones' soul is now in her?
That's what I think they're saying, because earlier in the movie, when she showed up at the dance club and she's suddenly in, and they scroll the camera up on her, she's like all leather looking at black.
Yeah, but that's just how you dressed back then when you go to a club.
No.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, but I said to you, something's the matter with her. Is she possessed? Because after the weird scene happened with her in the bed, which, by the way, we're questioning if it was Jimmy Bones molesting her, because it was very odd who got into bed with her, and then suddenly we found out it was her father, was Jimmy Bones.
I think it's just the lost souls coming out of the wall.
We never see it, so we don't really know, but it is awkward. But after that scene, she's a completely different character.
Yeah,
she seems very, very agreeing with everything. She just keeps making out with Patrick, and she comes back to the house without even question, although she had a weird experience. She was getting molested. So something's the matter with her. And it seems strange, but I think it's also something they cut out, because even when Pam Grier grabs her head, she just like hides her face. We don't see her. And then all of a sudden she just shows up again. The next time you see her, she's at the dance club with the outfit on, and she just starts making out with him. So I was like, okay, something's wrong with her. She's been weird the whole movie.
Yeah.
After that stuff. And I was like, but there's no establishing. Nothing is ever actually set up or makes sense. Like, you think that there's a lot of things dropped from the re-edit.
I feel like, there's a whole different movie set for this, and they changed it because a lot of this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and especially like one of the things we didn't even mention was that the Patrick bought this place from the father. The father, he brings the father there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of his partners is his brother, but his brother's not in the car with him. which makes me believe that they edited in that they're brothers.
I mean, but that would make the whole family dinner that they were having make sense. Like,
But-
why would they show them at the house all together? as
But
a
Maurice
family?
was with them too. It was very odd.
Yeah, it was weird.
And he keeps making references. Maurice is always eating my damn food.
Yeah.
It's strange. And why wouldn't the brother be in the car with him saying, hey, we bought this place?
I don't know.
You see what I'm saying?
There's
though?
like so much missing in this plot. But I mean,
like he would have to be a part of this, like this conversation about we're gonna set up this club and Dad, I'm gonna do my music, but no, he's not even in the scene. Bill feels like an afterthought. Same thing with Catherine Isabel's character. They feel like weird afterthoughts, like not necessary, or just put in to say, oh, he is so against his roots, the father, that he married a white woman and is like has like a living like this white life. I think that's why they maybe did that, to have the wife be a white woman, to make references to that. But it doesn't play well because it just really feels underestablished.
I mean, that would all make sense and stuff, but like I feel like number one, they could have gotten rid of the two other kids. We don't need them because this could have it was all basically about Patrick as it is.
It could have been a bunch of friends.
Yeah, like what does it matter if about this family? There's no rhyme or reason. And plus, at the end of the movie, the father and brother are dead anyway. And so, what is he going to go? I mean,
and he's dead. Patrick dies at the end.
Yeah, so who's going to go back and say, oh, all your family? Well, two of them are missing because who's going to think that there's a freaking hellmouth?
Yeah,
just swallowing people whole. Like, come on. This movie is
there's no way to explain it, especially at the house when Jimmy Bones took the father. He melted through the window because the window is like melted.
Yeah, it was melted.
And so when the cops got there, if they call the cops, they have like no way to explain any of what they are looking at.
No, first of all, there's no cops anywhere.
No cops don't show up. That's what's really crazy about the whole thing.
That's wishful thinking.
Which makes me think that maybe Catherine Isabel in the script also wouldn't have known where they were, but she did because she was playing in that band with them. It's odd. It makes me think that the movie was completely restructured and reshot multiple times.
I mean, what they can say is that, they went into the building again after the fire and they were killed in a cave-in or something. I mean, that's the best I got for you.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Even Pam Grier is dead in the house, so...
Yeah.
Everybody's dead. All the neighbors got killed. I mean, let's face facts.
Well, she would have died anyway because Snoop had invaded her daughter's soul. So,
apparently. Why would he do that? And it's everything about it's questionable. It's one of those movies where ghosts don't make any sense because we kind of get hints that Patrick was led to this place because of his father's attachment to it.
Yeah.
And so we find that out a little bit, but makes me question a lot of things like, why did Snoop Dogg wait so long to trick someone into unlocking that door? Like, why is that happening? How is he using the dog when he's not fully formed?
Yeah.
Because he's using that dog to attack Shotgun across the street constantly, but not Pam Grier or Sia's daughter for like 20 years.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah. And so it's one of those things, again, it's like Snoop Dogg could have tricked those two kids in the opening to opening the door and then killing those two kids down there with the dog and making his body form. Like, why didn't his body form from the dog eating them in the opening? Why did it take Maurice to get him to form?
That's true.
And
that is so. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is so true. He could have used their souls to reform himself, and then we would have gotten more Snoop in the movie.
And we would have got more Snoop in the movie. And also, I would have liked it if it played in order, which the movie was originally going to do, was set up his murder in the opening and then have him come back and have revenge, which would have played better. But it made me think that they re-put in all these scenes with the kids.
See, that's
because
the
they
thing.
seem unimportant.
They're so unimportant, and they could have taken out, like I said, Maurice, the other brother, and the sister, and they could have had more bad guys for him to come back and take revenge on.
Just him, like Remember when the leprechaun in the hood?
Yeah.
When he was going around the hood and was just like killing everybody in the hood.
Yeah.
It could have been that. It could have been him cleaning up the streets as Jimmy Bones. And we would have been like, what if it was a Freddy Krueger who was justified?
Yeah. I mean, I would 100% be on his side. He was murdered and he's taking revenge. I love revenge movies. But like, I feel like this movie kind of, he was the star of the movie, but they threw him to the wayside. Like, I wanted to see more of him. I wanted to see more Snoop. I needed more Snoop.
Oh, it would have been, I think this would have been a classic if it was him as like a Freddy Krueger character. They killed him and now he comes back 20 years later to get revenge on all the people who have messed up his community.
Yeah, and he has like funny one-liners, you know.
Which he kind of does, but they're just not as good because the way they filmed it.
Yes, because it's like in the last 5 minutes of the movie. And we're like, okay, by this time I'm like, all right, let's wrap this up. You know, like this, I'm tired of these kids. There's no rhyme or reason to this. I'm ready to wrap it up.
Well, what would we give this out of 10, first off?
I guess I'm going to give it a 4.
I think I'm going to give it a 5. I think this is very mediocre. I feel like it's on the border of being bad and on the border of being decent.
I think it's like, it could be so bad it's good where it's a 4 because there's a lot wrong with this film. You know, just some of the silly special effects I couldn't get past. The lack of Snoop in this movie, we needed more. There's no rhyme or reason to the 3 kids at all. No rhyme or reason to that. There's nobody actually showing any emotion. There's no real acting in this. None.
I mean, yeah, I understand that. I just think that I feel like there's a decent movie in here that could have been like really fun. This could have been a 6 if it was like way better, you know, done with better effects, more gore, and letting loose Snoop Dogg. It could have been great. I think there's a concept here but the problem is it's so mediocre where none of the things connect that I'm just going to put it right in the middle of 5 where it's forgettable. It's not so bad it's good. It just feels like it's so on the cusp of being interesting.
I can't go higher than a 4. I just can't. There's a lot wrong with it.
We're saying it's not the worst movie ever. But I'm going to say that this, I'm going to say, is this better than Leprechaun 3?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to put this at number 41.
Okay.
So, what we got?
I don't know. You sent me some reviews that you didn't want me to look, but I don't even know which is the 10 and which is the 1 because you cut it off on purpose.
I didn't cut it off. There is no 1s or 10s, but when you read them, you'll figure it out.
Oh.
That's the joke. But what's the segment, Joe?
Oh, okay, sorry. The segment of why we can't have nice things. Where I read 2 extremes of online reviews. Usually a 10-star and 1-star review, but here I don't know.
Yeah.
As proof that people ruin the movie rating system for everyone when they do this kind of thing. Anyway, I'll read it to you and you'll just get it. So anyway, this one's titled, Anyone Who Says This Movie Sucks is Dumb. And I'm going to specify that this person...
You got to read it just like it was written.
Okay, well, says is spelled S-E-Z and dumb is D-U-M-M-M. Every now and then, I have to affirm my role in society as a strong white woman by having white girls at college night with my housemates and see movies with rap stars in them. This time, it was Bones and How High, and yeah, both of them were muy wonderful and pleasant, and I laughed all day, every day about the premise of How High. Yeah, the movie was funny too. And I was in awe of Snoop's acting skills and Pam Grier's perfect self in Bones. White girls at college night may have to graduate to Anaconda. Yeah.
10 out of 10.
First of all, everything in this review is spelled wrong. Everything. All of it.
White girl college night? Is that what she says?
I laughed. Laffed. I laughed. I'm out. This person needs a slap. Okay? You need a fucking slap.
Can it get worse?
All right, next one. Jesus. Quite possible the worst movie ever. What's Evie? Seriously, stay away at all cost. I could go on all night why this one is awful, but as a friend to humanity, I must warn all. You may want to kill yourself for having viewed this movie in its entirety. That's spelled wrong. I said it the way it's supposed
That's
to be.
okay.
Yes, it was just that bad. I mean, for God's sake, the blood is orange, and that's not even the tip of the iceberg. The movie has no tone, and the little bit of tone it does attempts to establish is ruined by the last 25 minutes or so, when tries unsuccessfully to switch over to comedy. This movie is bad all the way around the board. There's really not one decent thing about it. I refuse to even say any more about this trash. I dare not give it any more attention than this. But this is more of a warning. Just say no. So I read that exactly the way it's written.
So my thing is with this 1 star here. First off, you told us to go kill ourselves. I would say that the reason that what bothers me here is the orange blood. Now I feel like this guy's either colorblind, but when I was watching the movie, I was clearly looking for this orange blood that he's discussing. And I did point out there was one scene that was filmed in an orange color grade. So the movie does this multiple times where they use color grades, like, and it changes, of course, everything. So the red blood turned orange in the shot, but it's very quick. So
that's the only problem with the movie. I mean, come on.
I mean, he's like talking about like that's bad. Now I will say that yes, if someone doesn't know about giallo, which a lot of horror fans seem to not know about it very well, the red blood is a thing. Like that really, really, really painty blood is a thing, and it is very off-putting.
That boggles my mind that there are horror fans that don't really know about giallo. I mean,
well, the horror fans of today, you know, they're really excited about Neve Campbell coming back on Scream. So, I mean, I just want the movies to move on from that. I just like, holy crap! But people like freaking out for it. I don't know. So those horror fans don't really know about where things come from. These are the people who are like, The Exorcist is a comedy. So it's like
they're clinging to nothing. They keep recycling the same shit. Get rid of Sydney. Okay, fine. If you don't want to kill her off, just move on from her.
Yes.
That's it. We're done. We're done with Sydney.
So to me, it's like, it doesn't really matter where movies come from. And they're not here to learn. So some people don't. But the people who really love film will go find out about it. But when someone who is more of a mainstream horror fan, when they watch movies with gore like that, it is extremely hard to get your mind wrapped around. And I understand that, because here we couldn't unsee it either. We're not expecting an American film to use that color of blood.
No, not a movie like this. No.
So it is odd. And I can see that someone can complain about it, but both those reviews are freaking crazy.
You
talk about
those.
the extremes.
You like when I read those.
I like the weird ones that are insane. Like the weirder, the better. Because if you're really going to get the extremes of the internet reviewing, you got to go for those wild ones.
Yeah.
All right. So, any parting thoughts on this episode?
No, I mean, this wasn't a terrible piece of crap. I mean,
I don't think so either. That's why I gave it a 5. This is probably one of my more liked films.
Nah, it's a 4 for me, but I'll tell you, I really want to see more of Snoop Dogg. So what is that other movie of his?
Well, he did he did go back to the horror genre recently with Day Shift, where he played a vampire killer.
Oh yeah, we saw that.
Yeah.
But he did another one too, didn't he?
I don't know.
Another horror.
He did Snoop Dogg's Something of Terror or Tales of Terror or something like that.
Oh, okay. No, he played Huggy Bear in the Dukes of Hazzard, right? Or no, not Dukes of Hazzard.
It's Starsky and
Starsky
Hutch.
and Hutch. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, they actually referenced that in this movie. They called the pimp Starsky or something like that.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh no, they called him Huggy.
Huggy Bear.
Huggy, yeah. That's funny. All right, that's it. I got nothing else.
All right, everybody. So that is us talking about Bones. Next week, we'll be talking about another movie that stars a rapper in it. Hopefully come back. and listen. And we want to know why you like Bones, why you like Red Blood, why you like Sidney Prescott. You tell us. We want to know. Hit us up on Instagram at Hit us up on Instagram at Just Another Movie Night and Joe at The Crafty Misfit. We'd love to hear your opinions, your thoughts, your suggestions for more movies to do. You know, an entire theme. Tell us anything. I would love to know. Even the weirdest thing. Killer Rabbit movies. I'll do it. Till next time. Have a good one. Bye.
Hey, Slinky Gang. Are you looking to score?
Little brother. I got a natural high. A supernatural high.
Oh, you got a supernatural high, huh? Well, look, Eddie Mack don't like no wackos coming through our neighborhood playing that Rain Man stuff, okay?
Big badass Eddie Mack. Got shit for brains, and that's a fact.
Are you suffering from negligence? I'll whoop your ass.
Hold up, shit, that nigga crazy, man. He ain't shit.
This nigga's suffering from negligence.